Chosen one. Before you continue listening, take a moment and think about the people you once believed would never leave your side. The people who promised, "I'll always be here for you." The people who laughed with you, shared meals with you, dreamed with you, prayed with you. The people you trusted with your heart. Now think about what happened when your life entered its darkest season. When the money became tight, when the prayers seemed unanswered, when your heart was breaking, when you needed encouragement more than ever before, one by one. Many of those people disappeared. Some stopped calling, some stopped replying, some slowly walked away without saying goodbye. Others stayed, but only long enough to watch your struggles from a distance. That silence hurt. Not because you expected perfection from people, but because you never imagined they would leave when you needed them most. Today, God says, "My child, they walked away because I was making room for the people and the purpose I have prepared for you." Chosen one. Sometimes we confuse comfort with calling. We hold on to people simply because they've been part of our lives for a long time, but longevity does not always mean destiny. Some people are only assigned to one chapter of your story, not the entire book. When their assignment is finished, God allows them to leave, not to punish you, but to protect your future. Because there are places I'm taking you where certain people cannot go. Chosen one. You cried over people who never cried over losing you. You prayed for relationships that heaven had already released. You tried to reopen doors that God had permanently closed, and every time you forced those doors open, you found more disappointment waiting behind them. Today, God lovingly says, "Stop chasing what I have already removed from your life. If I closed the door, trust me. If I allowed them to leave, trust me. If I interrupted your plans, trust me, because I can see tomorrow while you are still worrying about today." Chosen one. Think about Abraham. God didn't simply ask him to move. He asked him to leave behind everything familiar, his home, his comfort, his relatives, his predictable future. Abraham didn't know exactly where he was going. He only knew who was leading him. Faith often begins where certainty ends. Imagine how many people questioned Abraham's decision. Imagine how many called him foolish. Yet every step away from what was familiar was a step toward God's promise. Chosen one. Perhaps God has been asking you to release something familiar, a relationship, a habit, a dream that no longer fits his purpose, a version of yourself that you've outgrown. But letting go feels painful. Because we naturally fear empty spaces, yet God says, "The empty place you're grieving today is the very place where I will pour tomorrow's blessing." Chosen one. The enemy wants you to believe that because people left, you have been abandoned. But there is a huge difference between being left by people and being abandoned by God. People leave. God remains. People change. God remains. People break promises. God never does. That is why your confidence cannot be built on human loyalty. It must be built on God's faithfulness. Chosen one. Remember Elijah. After one of the greatest victories of his life, he found himself alone in the wilderness, afraid, exhausted, discouraged. He believed he was the only faithful servant left. But God reminded him, "You are not alone. I have already prepared people you haven't even met yet." Chosen one. Some of the greatest blessings in your future are connected to people who don't even know your name today. Divine connections, divine friendships, divine opportunities, divine favor. But you'll never meet them if you keep looking backward. God says, "Stop staring at the people who left. Start preparing for the people I am sending." Chosen one. One day, you'll understand why certain conversations ended, why certain friendships faded, why certain relationships couldn't continue. Because if they had stayed, you might never have become the person God created you to be. Sometimes separation is not rejection, it is redirection. God removes distractions before revealing destiny. So don't waste another tear trying to hold on to what heaven has already released. Lift your eyes. Your future is calling. And the people God is sending will never require you to beg for love, respect, or loyalty, because what God joins together through his purpose cannot be destroyed by human opinion. Chosen one, if you've stayed with this message, then perhaps your heart has been carrying questions that no one else has been able to answer. Questions like, Lord, why did they leave when I needed them the most? Why did you allow the people I loved to disappear? Why did you stay silent while everything around me was falling apart? Those questions have echoed through your mind for months, maybe even years. There were nights when sleep refused to come. You replayed conversations over and over. You wondered if you had said the wrong thing, if you had trusted too much, if you had loved too deeply. You searched for reasons, you searched for answers. But the more you searched, the more confused you became. Today, God gently places his hand upon your heart and says, My child, stop blaming yourself for what I had already planned to remove. Chosen one, not every goodbye is a punishment. Sometimes, a goodbye is God's protection. There are relationships that feel good, but quietly pull you away from your purpose. There are friendships that make you comfortable, but never help you grow. There are people who love the version of you that stays small because your growth makes them uncomfortable. God says, I love you too much to leave you where your destiny cannot grow. Chosen one. Think about Joseph once again. When his brothers sold him into slavery, it looked like betrayal. It looked like injustice. It looked like the end. Joseph had every reason to become bitter. He could have spent the rest of his life asking, why would my own family do this? But years later, standing as the governor of Egypt, Joseph finally understood. The pit was painful, the slavery was painful, the prison was painful. But every painful step was moving him toward the palace. If his brothers had never let him go, he never would have reached the place where God intended to use him. Chosen one, some people had to leave your life because they belonged to your past, not your future. You kept asking God to restore relationships, while God was preparing restoration for your life. There is a difference. Sometimes we become so focused on getting certain people back that we fail to notice God bringing better things into our lives. God says, do not mistake my new beginning because you're still staring at yesterday. Chosen one, the enemy loves keeping your attention on what you've lost, because if he can keep you grieving, he can keep you from recognizing the blessing standing right in front of you. He whispers, you'll never recover. You'll always be alone. Nobody will ever love you again. Nothing good is coming. But today, God silences every one of those lies. He says, I am the God who restores what people believed was gone forever. Remember Ruth. She lost her husband. She lost the future she imagined. She could have remained trapped in sorrow. Instead, she chose to trust God, and in the middle of her loss, God introduced Boaz, a man she never expected, a future she never imagined, a blessing she never could have created on her own. Chosen one. Sometimes God's greatest blessings arrive through doors you never planned to open, that job you never expected, that friendship you never saw coming, that opportunity you didn't even know existed, that peace you thought you'd never feel again. God works in ways that human understanding cannot predict. Chosen one. You thought you needed those people to succeed, but look at you, you're still standing. You thought losing them would destroy you, yet somehow, God carried you through every lonely night, every painful memory, every unanswered prayer, every difficult season. You survived not because life became easy, but because God's grace became stronger than your weakness. God says, when people walked away, I stepped even closer. Chosen one. The loneliness that almost broke you actually became the place where you learned to hear my voice more clearly, without all the noise, without all the distractions, without everyone else's opinions. You began depending on me in ways you never had before. That hidden season transformed your spirit. It built courage where fear once lived. It created wisdom where